Right, time for some great wines. Champagne in the world has to come from champagne. And anything else around the world that is made in the same way as champagne, with the same grapes as champagne, is called, for example, English sparkling wine, Tasmanian sparkling wine, Australian sparkling wine, Italian sparkling wine. Yeah, that's what it is. Nyetimber means new timber from 1086. So this is in West Sussex. And Nyetimber is first found in the Domesday Book in the year 1086. And they are internationally now, without question, England's finest sparkling wine. And on the world stage, they are up there with Krug and Dom Perignon. Right. Now people say, really? Is that actually true? So if we go right back to basics, what we have on the basics, and before anything else, you're all into marketing and social media and everything else, their branding is, oh my God, right? So they have here in the range, you can see how much Karen drinks every time she's here. This is Karen from the last 2 weeks. So they have about 7 different Nyetimbers in the 7 different Nyetimbers. Here's 4 of them. You can see, I mean, this one is their classic cuvee, which is blue. We could try this one here, cuvee Cherie. We have the rosé, and we have the blanc de blanc, and we have, there's another Tillington, and then 2 super prestige cuvées. The prestige cuvées sell at £200 a bottle. The branding on here is truly outstanding, but just so you can trust me, if you like, we're going to try it, on why this is as good as champagne. So do you know what the grapes are that goes in champagne? Any idea? There are 3 types. Nope.
Green.
Green?
White.
They're largely green, yes. So there are 3 grapes in all champagnes, or can be used for champagne rather. Chardonnay, Pinot Noir and Pinot Meunier are the 3 grapes. So wherever you are making champagne or sparkling wines around the world, they will have Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier. And they're all made in the same way. So the production method for making champagne or English sparkling wine is identical. So what you've got is, let's say Nyetimber versus Champagne region, same grapes, same process. Nyetimber here in West Sussex, just protected from the South Downs. If the crow flies from Nyetimber to Champagne, it's the same distance as the crow flying from Nyetimber to Manchester. So the geology goes underneath the English Channel, and it comes back up again in Champagne, and the geology is the same. So same geology, same grapes, same method. And what really sets this apart from all other English sparkling wines is Nyetimber only use their own grapes. They only use theirs, and they planted theirs for the first time 32 years ago. So they have got quite old vines. Not as old as France, but they've got quite old vines. Probably easier to pass it down. 2012, if you remember the Olympics, it was the most gloriously hot summer. And then at the end of the summer, it pissed down with rain and it ruined the crops. And Nyetimber took the view, we need to get rid of all of our grapes. All of our grapes, we're going to throw them all away. I'm thinking, oh my God, it's like £4 million worth of grapes. But because they knew that they wanted on the international stage to be the best champagne, call it champagne, English sparkling wine anywhere, we must throw it away. So they threw away all of the 2012 vintage simply because their standards on quality are the highest it can be. Every bottle on here, and by the way, if you don't follow, I'm sure you won't, if you don't follow Nyetimber on social media, please do so. because their branding and marketing is to die for.
Oh, that is mine, yeah.
Now this one you're trying is called Cuvée Cherie. And the reason I chose this one today was because I knew it was going to be all ladies here, apart from Lee and myself. Can I quickly pour a glass, quickly? Cuvée Cherie. The reason for that is the head winemaker is a lady called Cherie Spriggs. Sorry. And in 2018, 2019, for the first time ever, the champagne of the year was not from Champagne. The champagne of the year was Nyetimber. And for the first time ever, it was a female winemaker that won Champagne Grower of the Year, Cherie Spriggs. First time ever. But Cherie has a bit of a sweet tooth, and she loves a dessert. So, have you heard of before demi-sec?
Oh yeah.
I was
Right.
going to ask you about this.
So, this is no longer called demi-sec, it's called Cuvée Cherie. Because she is the winemaker of the year, and she is so brilliant, truly brilliant, just like one of the great winemakers of the world, I think she has a prerogative to say, actually, I'm going to call it my own name. So it's now called Cuvée Cherie.
But
It is a demi-sec. So this is 100% Chardonnay. Now, when you're trying a wine, because we're going through this wine tasting here, there are 3 senses that you use to try wines. One, your eyes. Secondly, your nose. And thirdly, your palate. So we're going to have a quick game. What can everybody smell on the nose of this? No answer is a stupid answer. Peach, okay. What else?
Is it true every time you go back to it, it's different?
Mm-hmm.
I feel apple.
Apple, yep.
Terrible at
Wine.
Wine. Everybody says that, don't worry. You should get a little bit of almond.
I was gonna say it's
Right.
vanilla aniseed almond or
Vanilla, almond, almost like brioche or toasty,
That's what I was
almondy,
tasting,
Danish pastry style.
Oh shit,
Right.
I meant to-
No, you can do it now. It's okay to swear and it's okay to try it. And now, to try the wine, this beautiful wine, please. It is.
It's quite nice. I don't like champagne normally. Maybe I just need. I've got expensive
I don't like
taste.
champagne over Prosecco.
Not me too.
Oh my god. That's literally my friend and I tasted.
That is really nice.
So, what you have here, don't panic on diets and anything else. It does have, because it is a traditional demi-sec, it does have slightly higher sugar than a typical sparkling wine. But she got this flavour specifically for desserts. Because wine and food pairing is important. This is basically produced to go brilliantly with desserts. So when we talk about food pairing, you can imagine now that you can have this as an aperitif on its own. I wouldn't really have it before a dinner. I would have it in the afternoon as an aperitif because it's got this beautiful almondy, toasty, like roasted pear or baked pear, baked apple, just delicious. You can definitely have it with afternoon tea. Oh my God. So on Mother's Day here, Mother's afternoon, we are having Cuvée Cherie and cakes and chocolates and pastries and live singer for Mother's Day. So this will go with absolutely everything. You would also be able to have it with some spicy kind of dishes because it's got enough substance to it itself. Next thing, because we're here to enjoy beautiful wine and everything, is how to, it was funny, how to enjoy wine, the nose and the palate. We had a tasting here last week and she's a big blogger. You might know her. Not Sarah. Fitness, both fitness girls. Charlotte somebody and...
Oh yeah, she's cool. She's very cool.
yeah, and the other one. Anyway, it's one of them had a partner here, fiance, whatever else. And he knew not. I always say, out of 10, how much do you know about wine? He said, oh, 2 out of 10, 2 out of 10. But he was like so into it. And he loved everything else. And he kept on saying, right, I'm going to go and tell the mother-in-law how to taste wine. I'm going to go and give everybody a lesson. So, when you do the nose, when you're nosing the wine,
Nosing, is that the proper term?
well, I don't know, it's like a verb to nose, I guess.
To know.
Is
To nose the wine.
There's 2 ways of doing it. First of all, take a big sniff straight away. Because this is alcohol. So your nose has been used to all the fragrances here all afternoon. So if you take a quick sniff, you're basically clearing your nostrils and telling your nostrils, right, we're now going to enjoy the nose. The second thing is the palate, and I forgot your name, madam, at the end? Liz. Liz started to do it a little bit. When you're out or you see people drinking wine, you will often see them move the liquid, move the wine around the mouth.
Couple.
Please now do it. So if you take a little bit
Swirl
in,
it in your mouth.
swirl it around your mouth, try and swirl it around the inside of your lips, up here, around, underneath your tongue. Not mouthwash, not like mouthwash, not.
It's really
But to
fizzy,
try-
like it's tingly.
It is tingly, but what you'll see now is a very different flavour.
Yeah.
You can now really get the apples and the almond and the brioche and everything else. The reason for doing that is you need to give it a little bit of air. You need to get some oxygen in to waken up the wine, because the wine has been there for ages. You know, sometimes we'll have a wine from 2002. And the poor grapes, like I often say, if you're tasting wine, just imagine you're the grape. You've been in that bottle since 2002. You've just had some oxygen come into it. You want to give that grape the opportunity to grow from there. Don't do it all the time, because if you keep doing that every time in a restaurant, it looks a bit odd. And especially with a red wine, if you keep doing it like that,
Fairy tufts, didn't you?
you do get a furry tooth. If you keep getting a furry tooth, you don't actually enjoy the beautiful wine. But it's good to do it once at the start, because then you've got a much stronger opinion of how great this wine is. Last thing on sparkling, just to share with you, is the glasses that you use. So, the worst glass for drinking champagne is what's called the Marie Antoinette glass. The Marie Antoinette glass, which you see often in like James Bond films, is this great, like a saucer, like a coupe, which is sometimes you get in a martini glass.
Pornstar martinis.
Porn star martini. The reason it's called the Marie Antoinette glass is that when champagne was really just going crazy around the world, it was at the time of Marie Antoinette, and she had very large breasts. And so they had these designed to repeat Marie Antoinette's breasts. So you've got this great big coupe like a martini saucer, like a saucer. The reason it's dreadful for champagne is all of this beautiful sparkling wine is touching all the oxygen. So all the bubbles go quickly and all the flavours go quickly. Second worst is a traditional long flute. So these very long, thin flutes, which I still have at home, it's really not very good, because what happens is first of all it's forcing alcohol upwards. There's no flavour, and you have to drink it in such a way, you have to tip your head a long way back, which means this beautiful wine actually is going straight down your mouth, straight down your... So you just don't taste
Or
it.
dribbling
Or
down.
Or dribbling down. Depending on the time of the night and how much you've drunk.
Is that the one you're buying?
Right, the next wine we're having is from Italy, Pieropan. Pieropan Soave Classico. Who's ever heard of Soave?
Me.
Right. So Pieropan, this Soave Classico region, I'm testing your knowledge of Italy here, is 30 miles east of Verona. So if you're on the road from Verona down to Venice, it's 30 miles east is Soave Classico, which is the home. It's a beautiful town, and it's got an amazing castle on it. And apart from coronavirus, because that's what they got at the moment, it's a great place in the world to go. Pieropan is one of the longest standing families of great wine producers in Italy, and they've been making wine since 1870, Pieropan. And in 1923 they were the first family in the world to basically label Soave Classico. It's a strange wine because in some ways, because a lot of retailers, you'll find Soave on the shelf at $7.99. It's one of those that it is a bit of a... Some people will have a very cheap alternative for their version of Italian white wine. It has two grapes, Garganega. This is, I think, 85% Garganega and 15% Trebbiano D. I'll send it to you.
Garbage.
Yeah, Garganega, 85%, and 15% Trebbiano di Soave. And this is slightly different. They pick both of these grapes separately. Do you know in the Northern Hemisphere when people pick grapes?
Is it in the morning or the night time?
Well, you can pick them any time. I'll ask the question again. Which month do they pick the grapes?
July.
No? Any other?
Bet it's in the winter time when you wouldn't think.
September, October. September, October is the time that they will choose.
Harvest.
Exactly that. And they pick these two grapes separately because they are both quite delicate grapes. And they pick them separately and they ferment them. Whoops, that wasn't very good. They ferment them separately in glass. I don't know what the phrase would be. Glass-lined cement casks. Now, the reason for this is you'll always think, oh, wine is always in a barrel. It's fermenting. Fermenting means it's becoming good. Yeah, the grapes have been picked and they're fermenting and then turning it into wine. These are in glass-rimmed cement casks. The reason for that is that these grapes, like a lot of white wines, are very young, very fresh, very fruity, and they are delicate. So what you don't want to do is put these young, fresh, delicate grapes, in an oak barrel, because if you put them in the oak barrel, they will take some texture and some flavour off the wood. So glass is not going to give you any flavour. And if that glass is inside some concrete or cement, you're not going to get anything. So it keeps the absolute beautiful freshness of this wine.
That oaky taste, I personally don't like it.
I like
No.
it
Do you know
red.
what I mean? It's a bit smoky.
Depends on white or red, and it depends on the type of wine, depends what you're drinking.
Chardonnays, I think it's what puts me off of a lot of Chardonnays because it just
Yeah.
tastes
Don't really
like
drink
it's just
wine.
got smoke in it.
No.
So, ladies, what's on the nose on this one? Come on, who's got the best nose? First of all, clean your nose. Right, so what are we getting on this one?
Peach.
Peach, yes, good.
Yeah, loads of peach.
Makes me a bit
know,
dizzy,
that's not
you know.
How many? It
I
can't
get
Nothing.
lightheaded.
I was going to say lime, but
I
it
can't
can't
just-
Lime,
Quite
yes.
strong.
Peach, lime,
It
citrusy.
smells a lot stronger.
Sometimes what it is, as you're doing it there, you've basically got a mask, right?
Yeah, because I'm putting my
Yeah, which is fine.
whole thing, so
Sorry?
I'm like not getting any other air.
Floral, yes. What you get in Suave, what do you think, madam?
I don't know.
No? What you get on here is all of those.
Good nose.
You would call it stone fruit. So a stone fruit is a peach, is an apricot, is a plum. Not in this one so much, but you do get stone fruit. You get white flowers, white blossom. And
Yeah, it smells like that to me.
some of these here, when you say white flowers and blossom, you think, actually, what does that actually smell of? Right? So if you think of pollen, if you think of fresh spring or freshness in the air,
Jasmine.
that's what you're getting. And you're getting lime with it as well. And again, a little bit of almond. So now we're going to try. So just quickly on here is when we are choosing these wines, I will look at the colour. That's a beautiful colour. Beautiful, beautiful, deep yellow. Yeah, beautiful, deep yellow colour. The nose is wonderful. The nose says to me this is going to be light and fresh and I want to try. Then the third thing is, what's it like on the palate? Now this one here, please do swill the first sip around the mouth because you'll taste a huge difference.
You know when you swill in the glass, is that actually a thing or do people just do that for fun? Does that actually help to like aerate the wine and create a better flavour or?
Yes, it does.
So you
Because
should
you
swirl.
need to, you should swirl it around. What I would say is, so what you've got, I'll answer that question in a minute. So if you swirl it around your mouth on here, again around the lips, you get some nice acidity. Acidity, don't be confused, that doesn't mean we're looking for acid. It has a fresh acidity, which is light, fresh, again limes, again lemons, freshness on it.
Yeah.
Not your thing, no?
No.
I
No.
mix it a little bit.
No.
Because it's what? It's absolutely fine,
No,
don't
do you
worry.
know what I think it might be? Because we started with such a sugary one. And it's kind of, it's very kind of soury compared to the sugary.
Yes, it does. Yeah. It's a contrast from there. What it is it is a. This is one of those beautiful wines that you can use in virtually every single occasion. This is now really cold, right?
Very
So
smooth as well.
it's very smooth. It's got good length on it again, some complexity. Got that acidity. You can 100% have this as an aperitivo, as cold as this in the summer. If you take it out of the fridge and leave it for 20-30 minutes, I'm not saying warm, never serve it warm, but let it soften a little bit, then you can have this with fish. You can have this with any kind of fish. You can have it beautifully with chicken, not buttery chicken, because you've got that citrusy on it. Don't put anything too creamy and everything else, because they'll confuse each other. Just think about this wine's getting confused with this food, etc.
I really like it.
And so answering the question about moving this around and getting some air on it, just again think you're a grape. Not for too long, obviously. But if you're imagining you're a grape,
I've been squished in a bottle.
you've been squished in a bottle,
Give me a few more.
and you need some
And
air.
I just need to have a little, maybe a little stretch, maybe bend over.
Exactly right.
Bit of yoga.
A little bit of yoga in the morning.
And then you're
Have a
ready.
little dance, and then I'm ready for the day.
Perfect. Exactly like that. Even when this is fresh, what I would say is
You can
how
quote me
to
on
swirl
that.
it around, because I see people, even here, who get nervous about how to swirl it around.
Oh.
Right? Easier way to do it. If you just do it on the table, just draw a circle on the table, and then you've really done it.
You were good. You got a bit of
The
vortex going on
only thing I
there.
look for is the legs, and this one,
Right.
even when you put it
So
down,
these legs,
still got legs.
Oh yeah, sure.
do you know what these legs are?
It's the alcohol content of it.
Exactly. So this is showing you how much alcohol there is in it. I'm guessing this one is quite light. So,
you know when you swirl and you see like the drips, you see like there's drips.
Yeah.
husband's coming.
Yeah, see, they call
I think he'll come,
you
yeah.
can see it on the
Maybe around
see the leg.
Yeah.
Have a drink.
So on the side of
I
your
think so.
glass, so
Yeah.
swirl it quite
I need to go
high,
to dinner first. So.
and then you should be able to see it sort of like drip down the side. So let these.
No,
can
not
you see?
Look there.
Oh, okay.
This one was
They call them.
Yeah, Italian. So it's from Veneto region.
How
Like I said, just east of Verona. But it's really beautiful. And a great year, 2018. Really good. The oldest family for the leading Italian
There's loads on this, so.
winemaker and the first growers of Soave, 2018, beautifully fresh. But this one you see is picked in September, October, and is bottled in May, so it's really fresh.
So it goes from being a picked grape.
They're picking the grapes.
And they put it in this concrete barrel.
They will ferment it first of all, and they will leave it what is called on the lees, Lees, which is basically letting the grapes sit in themselves, right? So they can get some extra richness. They can talk to each other and they get this extra richness. Yeah, have a little bath. So get this extra freshness with them, and then it's allowed to ferment. Yeah, so the alcohol and the yeast will ferment it, and they use it in these glass-lined concrete, and then they will get it out. These here, the two grapes, Garganaga and Trebbiano, they let them ferment separately, and then they put them together. It's 85% one and 15% the other. But just a beautiful wine, really good wine, nice bottle, looks great. You'd be happy giving this as a gift. Chill it nicely, really good.
And how much is that?
About $23.99.
About 20.
Very good.
And that's the lime bit. And the Italian, my partner's Italian, and the lime and the limoncello and everything, you know, it's always, and I think this.
The other thing, just quickly on wine, now that this is warmed up a little bit and has been out of the bottle, even though it's young, like bottled within 6 months, try it again now and the wine has changed.
Oh. That's what I just realised. I was like, this is different.
Changed again. Last little tip, when you're out at a restaurant or anything else and they start to pour you, if you've got a bottle, if you've ordered a glass, that's what you get, 125 or 175 mils.
Yeah.
If you bought a bottle, don't, especially for white, don't let the waiter pour a huge glass.
Yeah.
right? Because if they're pouring a huge glass, you're going to get a very warm white wine,
Right, yeah.
right? So what we do is we will pour a very small measure, something like that, because then every time Karen has a top up, it's cold and it's fresh, because sometimes otherwise it's up to this. It's, you know, it's right up to the top. So to do that. Hi. Just in time for a glass of wine.
Oh no, I'm good for wine, thank you. But
Are you sure?
I'll join you.
Right, I need to go and get the red wine because I don't know where the red wine is. Do you want? We can taste anything. Do you want a red, or rosé, or a different white?
I love a red.
A red.
I love red.
Right, big red.
I like red with cheese.
Right. Okay, we're going to get some cheese in a minute. I'm going to get some big reds.
Yeah.
A big red to finish up with.